Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yes, it's there. So we are live. Good evening and welcome to today's live session. Today we are with Dr. Nishchal Bhatt discussing how to ensure that your child is protected from preventable infectious disease. Dr. Nishchal Bhatt, MD Pediatrics, PDG Adolescent Pediatrics, Postgraduate Pediatric Nutrition, Boston, is a child specialist and a teenager health consultant. He has 19 years of experience in pediatrics. Welcome to the talk show, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me for this very interesting and very relevant topic in today's scenario. Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely and interesting and important in today's times. So we'll start with the first question. Like children are prone to a host of infections. What are the basic precautions that parents should keep in mind?
Yeah, definitely. Childhood age is the age in which the immunity of a child is very less. So they are very prone to develop infectious diseases. Now, parents can take care of prevention of this infectious disease by three ways. One is by taking care of personal hygiene and cleanliness of the child. That is, and we have seen since last 6 to 8 months that because of taking care of good personal hygiene, that is frequent hand washing, eating good food, washing things very well, and taking care of the air also reduced the infection to a almost one third level what it was there before the corona. So personal hygiene and cleanliness comes the first thing. Second important thing is taking care of hygiene and cleanliness and sanitization of food and water. So the parent should take care that for first 6 months, the baby should only get breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is the first vaccine that is given to the child.
Right.
And if only breastfeeding is given till 6 months of the age, child's immunity really increase and they can fight against infections. Then parents should give them home based food as far as possible. And we have seen since last 6 to 8 months that as people are eating at home majority of the time, the childhood and adult diseases related to gastrointestinal infection has gone down drastically also. So this is the two things: taking care of the water, drinking good clean water is very important to prevent all waterborne diseases like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, and hepatitis A. And third and important thing is timely vaccination, because immunization is one thing which is the best thing that has happened to humankind to prevent occurrence of very serious, many a times life threatening diseases in a childhood age as well as in the adolescent children. So immunization, and that is also a timely immunization of a child, is very very critical. So if we can take care of these three things, we can definitely reduce the infectious disease in children.
जी, बिल्कुल. Because we have seen that as parents, mothers, we all have become so much over concerned because इतना सब कुछ हो रहा है and it's like time लगता है खुद accept करने में. And then the first thing in our mind comes कि अभी vaccination रहने देते हैं, थोड़ा रुक कर देख लेंगे, दोबारा लेट कर लेते हैं कि उधर भी जाएंगे, बाहर जाने में infection है and all. So
Hmm.
there have been so up to फिर भी still it's like almost 6 months over 8 months. So people have again like started taking precautions hain bahar, but they have like accepting that vaccination is also important. So
True.
they are talking to their doctors and people where they can go और सब कराने लग शुरू कर दिया है लोगों ने.
Yeah, that is fine. I really vouch that from almost starting from 25th of March till almost June, there was absolutely standstill in the vaccination. The routine immunization has really hampered, and till now, the parents are really not happy going out, taking the child to a pediatrician's place for vaccination. But definitely, as the session progress, I'll tell you about why it is important to go and take your routine immunization on time.
Definitely. So next question we see during these times, how can parents know for sure if the child has common cold or flu or pertussis?
See, common cold, one of the reason can be flu. Common cold can happen because of virus infections, And in common cold, mainly it is running nose and mild coughing and low grade fever will be there. In cases of flu also, it will be a mainly majority running nose, sneezing, mild coughing, and a little high grade fever for a day or two. On third day onwards, gradually the child will start getting recovery, and sometimes there will be mild redness of the body, followed by child will be absolutely fine. But in cases of pertussis, the most important symptoms is coughing, and coughing we call it kali khasi. So it is so severe coughing in the child, which is not relieved by any medicine, not relieved by any treatment given by doctor, and it can continue for 1.5 to 3 months. And during coughing bouts, child is so much severely coughing that sometimes it can create cyanosis, or sometimes it can create even unconsciousness in the child. So pertussis is a very dreadful disease, and it is very imperative that this has to be prevented by a good vaccines is available since years together. We just need to take care that we give these vaccines to children so that our children will not develop pertussis in their lifetime.
ओके एंड इट्स बेटर जैसे ही लगे हमें कि कुछ खांसी है या कुछ भी जुकाम है, इट्स बेटर टू गो टू द डॉक्टर एंड आस्क, मतलब गेट द मेडिकेशन की कॉमन कोल्ड है या फ्लू है. सो इट्स बेटर कि पहले ही हम उसको, वी डोंट ट्राई एट होम टू गिव लाइक स्टीम एंड ऑल, दैट इज आफ्टर मेडिकेशन ओनली, सो
Yeah,
दैट पता रहे.
they all are allied things which can be given, but first and
Definitely.
foremost thing is to get the checkup of the child done, and then final diagnosis, and then treatment is always advisable.
Definitely. Okay, which vaccines should children get to stay protected?
There are many vaccines, and these vaccines are very critical because they protect child against life threatening diseases or the disease which can really leads to lots of morbidity in the children. So if we start from the birth of the child, BCG is the first vaccine which child gets, and it protects against severe form of tuberculosis, which we call it TB also, oral polio vaccine, and hepatitis B vaccine, which prevents child against hepatitis B, that is a kind of jaundice which happens to child or the young adult due to transmission through blood or blood products. At 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 months of age, usually children gets vaccines which is DPT, that is diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus,
Yes.
H influenza B infection protection, hepatitis B protection, and injectable polio vaccine, which comes in the same. Nowadays, as we know, 6-in-1 combination is available that can be given to the child. So the single injection protects against these many diseases. Along with that, we can give a rotaviral vaccine, which is an oral vaccine. Now, rotavirus causes severe form of gastroenteritis in a child less than 2 years of the age, and this virus is a democratic virus. Why I am saying this? Because even though parents take care of good hygiene, good sanitization, water, this infection happens from atmosphere, and it can really cause severe diarrhea, and child might require hospitalization and IV fluid. So rotaviral vaccine, again 3 doses at 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5, depending upon which vaccine you use. Then pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, which is streptococcal pneumonia, a specific germ which causes meningitis as well as epiglottitis, medullary infection, and pneumonia. This can be given along with 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5 months age vaccine. Then after 6 months, child will get a flu vaccine, 1 dose, 2 dose, 1 month apart, which protects child against common flu and swine flu. By 9 months or after 6 months, anytime, child will receive a typhoid conjugate vaccine, which protects child against typhoid fever, which is a severe form of infection. And nowadays, a multi-drug resistant typhoid is commonly seen even in young, less than 2-year-old children. So we must give this vaccine at around 2 months of age. After 6 months, maybe around 9 months of the age. The another vaccine which is can be given at this age is meningococcal conjugate vaccine. which is a disease caused by Neisseria meningitidis, a severe form of meningitis, which progresses very fast. Within 24 hours, child may have some life-threatening event. It usually presents like flu only, and sometimes if the child survives, then the prognosis is not good because child may have developed some comorbidity in the form of amputation of a limb or a hearing loss for the life, or sometimes many other sensory neural hearing deficit to the child. So meningococcal conjugate vaccine can be given after 9 months of the age. By around 1 year we can give a vaccine which prevents hepatitis A, and that is also again an injectable. Around that time, maybe around 13 to 15 months, we can give chickenpox vaccine first dose, and another dose after 3 months. At 50, at 9 months and at 15 months, there is another important vaccines which we call it is MMR vaccine, measles, mumps and rubella. So it protects against these three severe diseases in childhood, and afterwards the booster starts so that we can continue the vaccination till child is maybe around 15 to 18 years, and that we will cover as the session progresses further.
Yeah, that is our next question only. Like,
Okay.
how is immunity strengthened with DTP booster doses?
Yeah, as I have said that at 1.5, 2.5 months and 3.5 months, child is getting a vaccine which may be a pentavalent or a hexavalent vaccine containing diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. Now, the vaccine which is given, they have the attenuated antigen in that vaccine, which goes inside human body, and human body develops antibody against that particular disease to protect the child against infection of that disease. Now as time passes, gradually the antibody level declines. So to maintain the antibody level above protective level, we have to keep giving the boosters at regular interval. So first DPT booster is given at the age of 1.5 to 2 years in between, which also contained H influenza B as well as injectable polio vaccine if possible. So it will be a 5 in 1 or a 6 in 1 combination. At 4.5 to 5 years age, we need another DPT booster. Now, fortunately for us, a DPT booster at that age with injectable polio is available. So it is better to go for that, because oral polio vaccine needs many doses to create almost 98 to 99% of the protection against the disease. And sometimes, very rarely, the oral polio vaccine can cause polio to the child. To protect the child against this kind of illness, injectable polio vaccine is now must for all children. So it is better to give 3 doses at first year, 1.5 year booster, and at also 4.5 year. If one injectable polio along with DPT has been given, then the child is protected for life against these three and inject the polio disease for rest of the life. At 10 years also, we need one booster dose. We call it Tdap vaccine, that is tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis vaccine. That will protect child against more to 10 to 20, 15 years. So these boosters are very, very critical to maintain a protective level of antibody titers to prevent the child developing these diseases, which are really very dreadful, sometimes life threatening, and child might have many consequences even if they recover afterwards. So boosters very, very critical. I would urge parents, please go through your immunization record of your child. If you are not able to understand, contact your pediatrician and complete your immunization schedule as it has been scheduled by Indian Academy of Pediatrics.
So these booster doses have been like recently introduced to child's
No,
vaccination card.
no. The 1.5 year booster and 4.5 year booster and 10-year booster was already there in the schedule. The newer vaccine which has arrived is recent arrival. Like at 1.5 and 4.5, we used to give only DPT vaccine.
Mhm.
But now DPT, H influenza B, and injectable polio combination is available. DPT and injectable polio vaccine combination is also available, so that we can definitely go for it. But if you cannot get that, plain DPT and H influenza B combination at 1.5 year, and plain DPT vaccine at 4.5 year is very, very critical. Up till now, 5 years back at 10 years, we used to give TD vaccine, that is tetanus and diphtheria combination. But now the Tdap, that is tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis combination vaccine is now available. So we can give this newer vaccine to prevent the child against even pertussis also. So these boosters are there since long, and it has to given till it should be given till 10 years of the age at least.
Okay. So the next question we arrive at, why are booster vaccines necessary when all primary vaccines have been covered in childhood?
I have already covered this answer
Yeah.
because gradually the antibody titer reduces as the time passes. We call it waning immunity. To boost that immunity up, we need to keep on giving the boosters at regular interval so that the child's antibody titer stays at a level which is protective against that particular disease. So that is why the boosters are very, very critical to be given to the child.
Okay, so there are questions from our audience also. So I'll read out one and you can answer that. Bushra is asking, what is the incidence of corona in kids?
Fortunately, the corona in children are very, very less. We have seen many cases. Majority of the cases are mildly symptomatic or moderately symptomatic. Very, very few children develop severe side effects due to corona infection. The important thing about child or a children is even if they do not develop severe diseases, they become carrier of the virus. So
Yes.
if your child is infected and in your house, if there is some older person like grandparents or some individual having some comorbid conditions like diabetes mellitus, hypertension, cardiac disease, or some lung disorders or a kidney disease, these children can transmit the infection to them, and in them this infection can become very serious or very severe also. So because of that, we have to prevent childhood corona infection also, so that they cannot become a carrier for other who are vulnerable for serious diseases.
Definitely. What does the parents do if DTP booster vaccine is delayed or skipped?
Any vaccine which is delayed or skipped can be definitely cover up. We call it catch up immunization. So if 1.5 year booster is left, the best time to give it is before 2 years. But even if the child is more than 2 years, up to 4 years, you can anytime give that booster dose, because in human body for these vaccines we have excellent immunological memory, so that our body remember that this vaccine has been given in the past. So at 3 or at 4 also, if the booster is given, then the catch up and boosting up of the immunization happen, and child is protected against the vaccine. If your child becomes maybe 4.5 year old, then again the time of next booster has already there. So any vaccine should not be skipped even the time has gone. Contact your pediatrician. He will find out the best schedule for your child, so that your child gets almost all vaccines which are required for the age, and he will be covered against all disease which are preventable through vaccine right now.
Okay, Sonal is asking, my child missed chickenpox vaccine. A year back, she got chickenpox. Do I need to get the vaccine now? Can chickenpox reoccur?
If your child has developed real chickenpox, which is diagnosed by a pediatrician, a qualified person, then there is no need to take chickenpox vaccine, because chickenpox disease itself gives lifetime protection against disease. But there are chances that many a times, if at that time child has not been seen by a pediatrician, there are many things which mimic like a chickenpox, like sometimes a simple viral infection followed by a red rash all over the body. Parents or grandparents may feel that is a chickenpox, or sometimes a skin infection having some development of a rash in the body. Sometimes grandparents or parents may seem that that is a chickenpox. In that situation, child must go for his or her chickenpox vaccine. And now chickenpox requires 2 doses 3 months apart. So if I give one dose in the month of December, Then second dose is required in the month of March or March, April. So if your child has been diagnosed confirmed chickenpox disease, then no need to go for a vaccine. If there is a doubt, it is always better to go for a vaccine and prevent the future chickenpox, which may be severe if it happens in the adolescent or an adult age. So you have to confirm it with your pediatrician.
Yeah, because a few years back, in my family also, one of the family member got chickenpox. He got like
Mhm.
diagnosed from doctor also that he has got chickenpox. So
Hmm.
like every family member had, and my daughter was, I guess, 9 or 8 years old, and she had got her vaccination before only. So she
Hmm.
didn't get, but others we all got, and my in-laws we got them injected at that time only. So they
True.
both were also protected for that from that.
Absolutely. And the chickenpox disease is very severe as the age advances. So in
Yeah.
the adolescent and adult age group, this disease is very severe and sometimes it can create some complications. So it is better that you confirm the diagnosis. If it is chickenpox, no vaccination. If there is a doubt, better to go for vaccination.
Then they were so protected.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Rahat Saeed is asking for some vaccines optional, like pneumococcal, or how to go about making an informed decision in such case.
See, for vaccination, I will always say to parents who visits me is the vaccination is like insurance. Even if I drive a new car out of the garage, I will definitely see to it that this car is insured before even I take it out of the company. Why? Because I am sure about my driving. I know that I will drive in such a way that there will not be any accident, but I am not sure about the other person's driving, or I am not sure about sometimes some accident happens just like that. So I will take care that I insure my car, I insure myself from life insurance or mediclaim every year. I am not going to use that. So insurance is very critical for our future problems. Same way, all the vaccines which are available and licensed in a particular country are very very useful. If we see the cost effective or cost benefit ratio of a vaccine, even if you find that particular vaccine is costly at that moment, but if you just think about if your child develops that disease, the child suffering, the hospitalization,
That
you're not going to office, so many things will come up. So it will be really 10 times or 15 times more costlier than you giving a vaccine right now. So it is always better to give all the vaccines which you can give. There are many vaccines which are available at government setups. There are many vaccines which are not available at government setups. What you can do is you can divide them if the affordability is the problem. If affordability is not the problem, definitely you should give all the vaccines. All the vaccines which I have narrated in the beginning, including pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, the rotaviral vaccine, the hepatitis A vaccine, chickenpox vaccine, the flu vaccines, these are really very, very good vaccines. And I would advise that talk to your pediatrician, understand what vaccine, how it protects, how much it protects, find out the cost of the vaccine, and get it done if it's not done by now. So it is always good to go for a vaccine rather than suffering your child from the disease, yourself suffering during that time, and spending more money in hospitalization or treatment of your child.
that's true. Charu Nest asks, does influenza vaccine need to be administered every year?
Yeah, the influenza virus is a very typical virus. It changes its structure every year. So World Health Organization has found out many laboratories across the world. They find out which influenza virus is circulating right now in the world from various places. And every 6 months, these laboratories give this strain to WHO. Then WHO finalizes which are the common influenza strains which causes infection in children and in adults. And depending upon that virus strain, they indicate to all vaccine manufacturing company to create a new vaccine for that particular virus. So we are getting two northern hemisphere vaccines, which is at present going on, and a southern hemisphere vaccine, which will come at around March and April. Basically, India has southern hemisphere kind of influenza virus, but anytime between March to June, you must get a vaccine shot of flu, even if you are an adult.
Okay.
And for less than 9 year of child, two dose 1 month apart, and then one dose every year till you want the uh, protection for that particular disease. We as healthcare provider take this vaccine every year in the fixed month to protect ourselves, because we are in treatment of these children. So it is always better to go for a vaccine every year, looking into this kind of science at present.
That's true. Jessica is asking, how do we protect infants from corona? We have stayed locked up at home for months now.
Infants from corona, see, would always recommend that lockdown now infection, because we are not sure who and where the infection will come. The protection is only twofold now. One is mask whenever you are out of your house, and second, do gaz ki duri, that is a distance between other person that is 6 feet apart. Even if your child is an infant, it is always better that twice or a thrice in a week you go out with your child in a closed car, just move around in the city, let the child see outside world. You also will feel better, and the child will also feel better. This is also very true for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 10 year of children, because if you stay in a closed environment for more than a particular duration, an area in our brain is getting stimulated, which will create constant negative thoughts,
That's true.
and we will not be able to come out of it even if we try. So it is always better to go out. Prevention in that infant is the same as it is there for others, that is proper sanitization, mask, and distance from the other person, that is at least 6 feet when you are in a common area.
Okay, Amina is asking, can I go for my 6-year-old daughter's vaccination to a hospital now? Is it safe during these times? I-
Absolutely. See, if I give my example of my hospital, during the first lockdown, we have completely closed the hospital. But from 15th of April, the hospital is running regularly without a single day break. Now, before you go to any hospital or to any doctor, you must confirm few safety precautions that the hospital or the doctor is taking. Number one, there should not be crowding in the waiting area. So at my place, we give appointment every 15 minutes. A one patient will come at every 15 minutes. We will have first half of the day for vaccination and second half of the day for the sick children. Unless there is some critical emergency, we see sick patient in the morning hours. Second, only one parent should be ideally allowed to enter the waiting area or the consulting room. Hand sanitization, temperature checking should be there. You just see that in between the patient, the local area is being cleaned properly with sanitization. If the clinic is properly cleaned twice in a day, all throughout these days, and there has to be some separate place to sit and vaccinate to the child in a doctor's chamber, so that your child is not mingling with other sick children. If your
That's
doctor's place or the hospital has more patients at single time, it is better to wait in the car till your turn come up. So it is always better to get the appointment prior and then go to the doctor's place. I am pretty sure, because of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, uh, 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 whatever they have done to propagate the safety precautions to their pediatrician, all pediatricians are taking this care, because we also want to protect ourselves from the infection. So we definitely take care of our infection, and we take care of the infection to be transmitted to other children in the hospital. So I would request you, whatever vaccine is pending, please go to your pediatrician, and in that single visit, try to get maximum injections as possible. Many a times parents are not okay giving more than two or three vaccines at a time, but three, four, five, even six vaccines can be given in a single visit to the child. So you don't have to go again to your child to the hospital. So it is always imperative to go and complete the immunization on time.
Okay. Survi is asking, is chickenpox hereditary? I caught smallpox in my childhood. Is there a chance of my kids getting it?
Two things which is like confusing. From 1978, the smallpox is not happening because it has been eradicated from the world. So if you have born after 1978, you would not have got smallpox. It must be a chickenpox infection. Chickenpox infection is not hereditary. Chickenpox infection is always infection which is caused by some other person having chickenpox. And if your child come in close contact with that person will transmit the infection to your child, and your child will develop chickenpox disease. So it is not hereditary. If you have got chickenpox at the young age, you will not be transferring it to your child unless your child come in contact with another person having chickenpox.
Okay, Deepika is asking, as kids are not venturing out, is influenza vaccination still needed?
100% needed. See, we are entering into a very cold phase of winter, and swine flu is very epidemic at the time of winters in India also, mainly in the northern part of the countries. And if we have two infections simultaneously, that is flu as well as corona infection, then the severity of the disease goes multifold. So we call that is twindemic. We must protect our child from influenza vaccine, disease through influenza vaccine on time, every year without fail, even if we are not going out, because some other person going out might catch infection from outside, come home and will transmit it to your child. So it is always better to protect with infection.
Okay, Deepa is asking, my daughters already got chickenpox vaccine when small. Do they need it again as teenagers?
If your daughter has received two doses of chickenpox vaccine up to this age, then they will not require any chickenpox vaccine. You have to again go and find out from your immunization schedule if your child has received only, because second dose after 3 months has been recommended recently in last 4 to 5 years. So it is always better to find out in your schedule. If your child has received only one shot of chickenpox vaccine, then it is better to get another shot at this age of teenager, so that the child is protected for his life, for her life.
Okay, we'll quickly take last question. Sweetie is asking, I've missed few vaccination of my child, which should be given at the age of 5 years. Now my child is 6.5. Can I give him now?
For sure, definitely you must give. Any vaccine is not delayed till the disease happened, which can be protected through a vaccine. So definitely, earliest possible,
We
take
should.
your immunization schedule, go to your pediatrician, talk about what vaccines are pending, and definitely your pediatrician will be able to find out a best possible catch-up immunization schedule for your child, and can be given at this age also.
Okay, there's one more. Pratibha is saying, are there any vaccines that can be administered to pre-teens? I have twins who are 11. Do they need anything, especially with pandemic happening?
Teenagers and adolescents have special requirement. The first one is the Tdap, that is DPT booster at 10 years. So it can be given at 11 or more than 11-year-old child. The another important vaccine, if your child has not received chickenpox and hepatitis A vaccine, please complete those immunization. A second dose of MMR, which was recently since 5 years has been recommended. If your child has not received that, you can definitely give it. Typhoid fever vaccine, when your child was young, the child must have received a polysaccharide vaccine of typhoid fever vaccine, which needs to be repeated every 3 years. Now we have a typhoid conjugate vaccine which is available. And if your child has not received that vaccine, we can give a single shot of that vaccine which gives lifetime protection. The another important vaccine is meningococcal conjugate vaccine, which I have already said the disease is very dreadful. Adolescents are more prone to develop these diseases because of the cluster of things in which they stay. The another vaccine which is important, if your child is not received a pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, it is better to give a single shot of pneumococcal conjugate vaccine at this age. And for female child more than 9 years old, a vaccine called HPV vaccine. It is human papilloma virus vaccine which protects against cervical and vaginal cancer, which is the second most common cancer happening in young women. So this HPV vaccine can be given between 9 months to 14 years, two doses 6 months apart. And if your child, a female child, is more than 14 years old, then that child might require three doses, that is 0, 1, 2, or at 6 months. So it is going to be a three-dose schedule. So these are the vaccines which are very, very critical to be given to a teenager child. And yearly flu vaccine is again recommended so that they are protected against these diseases. These diseases can definitely harm your child when it happens around the exams of your child. And during teenagers they have very typical exams which can create their future career. So it is always better to protect them with vaccine so that they are not vulnerable to this severe form of infectious diseases.
Okay, this is very good and informative. And if you have more questions, you can put up in the comments. We'll request the doctor to take up later also. So we are running out of time, and this is the perfect time to wrap up this session. Thank you very much, doctor. It was a very insightful and very informative session for all mothers and parents. So
Thank
thank
you.
you everybody for joining in. Good night and bye-bye.
Thank you so much for bringing me on. And I'm really happy to contribute to something which I know. And if the vaccination increases because of our talk, I'll be very happy because pandemic has created a real big dent in routine immunization. And do not hesitate. Please vaccinate, which is very, very critical right now. And go and complete your child's vaccination schedule. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.